Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristin West, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to What Women Want Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us for our show tonight, Going After Your It, featuring founder of Blonde & Co. in New York City, Julie Stahl, and self-help guru Karen Salmansohn. I'm broadcasting from New York, and my co-host, Kristin West, is sitting in our beautiful studio at LA Talk Radio. I don't know if she's still live on Instagram, but say hi, Kristin.
Hello, everyone. I was live on Instagram just a few minutes ago, but I had to put it away because I needed both of my hands.
It was so cool. Even I was fascinated with the back end of LA Talk Radio's What Women Want. I was fixated on you.
It's an exciting
So I'm so proud to say that What Women Want Talk Radio has reached over 1 million downloads since we first hit the airwaves. And between latalkradio.com's archives, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and all over social media with Kristin and I and What Women Want Talk Radio, you can find us everywhere. So listen to those replays and subscribe to us on YouTube, by the way. We're loving that. We have a few videos on there of Kristin and I in the studio together as well. And we're taking sponsors for our show for the next few months. So email us for a complete deck through our website, whatwomenwantradio.com. And speaking of sponsors, Design and Print Resource is our sponsor for this segment of What Women Want, and she's always so supportive of women. And everyone does buy printing in some form. So the company you can trust for great service is Design and Print Resource. And Gloria Strayer, who has a great story, by the way, we have to get her on the radio too. Growing up in South Central LA, she's the founder and owner of Design and Print Resource in Anaheim, California, and has been in the print industry, can't believe this, for 40 years. Her services also include warehousing and distribution. So give them a call at 714-687-9200. That's 714-687-9200, or go to dnpresource.com. Okay, my new news is I'm excited to say I am hosting Behind the Gates. It's on the AWE channel, and I'm doing it for another few weeks in June. We already shot 1 week last month, and I'm walking in and out of these jaw-dropping mansions in New York City and the Hamptons, and it's really making me want a bigger house. But there will be more on that when we're airing that, the dates and what time you can see it and all that. So it's very exciting. And my background, though, originally comes from high fashion modeling with Ford New York, and after that, I was a magazine editor, and that led me to TV hosting and reporting regularly for Better TV, City Buzz, all the TV networks around the country, both regional and national. And I'm currently a regular contributor, besides being the host on Behind the Gates on NBC and Fox. And I founded the company What Women Want Networking 7 years ago, and we're hosting our second National Women's Conference in October, the 19th through the 21st, at the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta, Georgia. You should really join us. It's incredible. I'm also a St. Martin's Press author and the mom of teenage twin girls. So if you want to meet me in person, or perhaps you want to meet my co-host, Kristin West, last year was our first conference, and women from 13 states and Canada attended, along with speakers from all around the country. So Seattle, Kelly McNellis came in, the founder of Women for One. David Baer is coming back to keynote, who's the newest motivational mindset sensation. And we're honored that he's coming back. And Kelly and Catherine Marshall from Simple Fat Burn will be there. She's a sponsor of ours and hosting a workshop. And a whole mix of celebrities, VIPs, surprise guests. I'm about to confirm the most incredible, another keynote, who I can't say who it is yet, but I'm just busting at the seams. So you will want to be a part of all this. So go to whatwomenwantconf.com and get your early bird ticket before June 15th, because once I start confirming these big names people, the ticket prices are going to go up. So make sure you get your ticket before the 15th. Okay, I'm exhausted. Kristin, what's going on with you?
Well, my talk show, Horror Talk with Kristin West, is going to be playing an Action on Film and Hollywood Dreams in Las Vegas in August.
Woo!
So I'm getting ready for
that. Such a glamorous life you lead.
Well, you're part of that glamour, and I also have news too, but I can't talk about it just yet. So I know exactly.
Oh, don't you
how
hate that?
I hate it. I hate it. But you know what? I love the fact, and I'm grateful for the fact that, like you said, I have new news. So there's something always exciting happening.
Yeah, we love that. Well, congratulations in advance. I hope you're going to break the news on the show again, because I love when you do that. I like getting the first snippet of what's going on.
That's my big hope too, actually.
Yeah, in Hollywood, baby. Well, I'm so glad to be on the air with you for the past couple of years. It's just been such a treat, and I'm very proud of all that you're doing. And don't forget about me when this news breaks of yours. And I'm excited to bring on Judy Stahl. Julie's the founder of Blonde & Co. in New York City, an award-winning creative agency that offers full-service creative content, specializing in integrated multimedia campaigns, brand development, and in-house production services. With an innate sense of what beauty really means from the inside out, the multi-talented Stahl directs all strategic content for all local, national, and international campaigns. Wow. A former hairstylist, Julie's a seasoned professional with extensive experience at top-tier beauty companies. She's worked as the product innovation marketer for hair color, hair care, and styling categories for L'Oreal Paris. She was the international director of training for Redken Fifth Avenue and the director of education at Schwarzkopf USA. Stahl has worked as a hair consultant, colorist, and stylist on major feature films. In addition to her creative direction, she lends her talent to photography, film, and production, where she can unleash her authentic innovation to create relevant, evocative content that elicits beauty from every angle, no matter the subject. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Well, thank you very much, Judy. And nice to talk to both of you tonight. Hi, Kristin.
Hello.
Well, going after your it, I mean, you are the perfect example of that. We went after it in your beautiful space at Blonde & Co. in New York City. We had an incredible event there. Kate White spoke. I know, Kristin, that you're a little jealous because we had Kate White on the show, and this space was just incredible. Let's start with your beginning, though. I want to know, obviously, we know where you're from with the accent. But I just would love to hear, what got you into this whole glamorous business?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow.
The business of beauty.
The business of beauty. Well, to be honest, I think, what inspired me originally was sitting at the hairdresser when I was a kid and watching the hairdresser cutting hair, and I became very hypnotized and inspired by watching the hair falling on the ground and seeing this sculpture revealing in front of my eyes. It was really inspiring. And
you were in Australia at the time?
Oh yes, this is 100,000 years ago.
You don't look like you're 100,000 years old.
Yeah, no, this is when I was probably a 10-year-old. I just remember watching the hairdresser and just thinking, wow, this is a real gift. This is a lot more than just cutting hair. She's creating a three-dimensional sculpture there. And
so did you become a hairdresser then after that?
I did. I started hairdressing at the age of I think I was about 17 at the time, and I actually really loved it. I had a wonderful career, and it was a mixture of being a therapist and an artist, and there's a lot of elements, a lot of different attributes that go into becoming a great hairdresser. I think that a lot of people wouldn't have even thought about that. I really enjoyed my career.
So you're there in the outbacks of Australia, okay, and you came from a very small town, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty small town.
I mean compared to New York City, right? So how did you get from there, styling hair, which, it's a great job, but my gosh, you now own a multi-million-dollar business where you're working with celebrities. You've done Angelina Jolie's hair, from what I understand, several times. Maybe you might even be doing it. That's a big difference. What's the story there? Tell me.
Oh, wow. It's a very long journey, and I certainly wouldn't want to, bore you with all the details, but to cut a long story short, I got into, from hairdressing, got into doing platform artistry, which means that you get up on a stage and then you present trends and looks to other hairdressers to inspire them, which was a lot of fun. And I did that with a company called Schwarzkopf, which is a German company that's pretty well known outside of the US. And I guess it has some people may have heard of it over here. And I actually eventually went in-house at Schwarzkopf and became a technical advisor. And I was developing programs for hairdressers and educational programs, and sort of became a bit of an expert in their hair color line. And it was actually through that company that I got my foot in the door in the US. So I came to the US on a vacation, actually, and I met with Schwarzkopf and met with some of the people there, and went on the road and met a bunch of hairdressers in Beverly Hills and so forth. It was really fascinating. I really enjoyed the experience. And long story short, at the end of that trip, my passport had been handed in to their US headquarters, and 3 months later I came over with a suitcase and $500 to my name and started a position here in the US with Schwarzkopf. And that's what brought me to the US.
That's an amazing journey that you took, Julie. And I can tell you, I'm so glad that you brought up therapists, because I know that when everything else has failed me, just sitting down in the chair and having an expert deal with my hair, with all the stuff that goes on with my hair and the double process and the cut and the color and the mismatch. So many people owe a debt of gratitude to people in the beauty business, because they really do sometimes act as a surrogate therapist. Now, on your website, I noticed.
Much so.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, I said very much so. You know, it's amazing, actually, how much I knew things about my clients and their lives that their spouses didn't know.
Judy, that reminds me of Bernadette
Oh,
Fisher's.
No. What are you going to say?
Well, no, Bernadette Fisher's, when Bernadette came on, she had the same insight that people tell me things that that not even their publicist or their therapist know. Now, Julie, you had female mentors, though, supporting you as you took your journey into beauty. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
You had female mentors, having women mentor you.
Oh, yes.
Was very important to you.
Oh, my goodness, I sure did. I had some incredible female mentors, yes.
And what did you learn from those mentors that helped you be the success that you are today?
Oh, wow. Well, I guess that one of my first early mentors was Heidi, a friend of mine now, obviously, from Australia. One of the people that I worked for over there, that she really taught me that you can do anything. You really can. If you put your mind to anything, you can do it. You can achieve it. And she was probably my very first mentor and incredibly profound in my life. And she gave me self-confidence that I probably lacked beforehand. Mm-hmm. And that was key. Having somebody who could believe in you and have you believe in yourself more than anything.
I want to know, what was the pivot as far as you leaving corporate? Those are some really high-powered jobs, and you really took a leap to start your own company there. What was the pivotal moment there, or the inspiration for that?
Well, I mean, I had some amazing female mentors in my professional life in the US as well. You know, I started at Schwarzkopf and then moved over to New York and worked with L'Oreal on a couple of their brands. And I had an amazing mentor who really gave me the opportunity to do the things that I believed in, to do the things that I thought were a little bit out of the scope of work, but she gave me that opportunity because I brought some ideas to her that I thought would be really interesting. So, for example, I was working in this position that was more about communicating the brand identity. And I had an idea for creating some content. So it was a little bit out of my scope, but because she believed in me and I put together a really good proposal, they bought into the idea, and I was able to do something that was, it was impactful, and everybody was pretty satisfied with the result. So then at that point, I had a taste for it. I knew that I really wanted to get involved in this world of, I guess, being behind the camera. And 9/11 happened, and as you know, that was a pretty profound moment in a lot of people's lives. And for me, it was that moment where, okay, you only live once. And I knew that my, I had a passion and a love for what I was doing in the media industry. And I also had this other love for storytelling and being behind the camera. And I always felt my happiest when I was on set. So I got a phone call from one of my mentors, actually, this amazing hairstylist in Hollywood, and she invited me to go and work on a film. And my initial response was, well, of course I can't do that. I can't. I've got a corporate job, and I can't. It would be amazing to have that opportunity, but it's just, no, I don't think I can do that. Well, anyway, she was pretty persistent and called me back again and said, listen, what if, gave me a couple more little carrots. And being that, we've just been through this interesting phase of our lives, going through 9/11, you only live once. Why not? Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it. What have I got to lose? So I did. I resigned. Everybody thought I was crazy. Like, are you kidding?
Right.
I mean, it's almost like you're a little too humble. You don't just, have someone say to you, you should be in this movie, and then all of a sudden kind of take the leap and then have this huge creative agency that's doing, iconic campaigns for, huge beauty corporations. I mean, it's so silly. And I want to know what it's like to do Angelina Jolie's hair.
Oh, well, I mean, what can I say? She's a beautiful woman.
Again.
She's an incredible lady. And,
yeah, that's fantastic that you have, you've worked with those types of people and to have that type of motivation. So if someone was listening right now and they're thinking, oh, Julie Stahl, well, she, got these opportunities because people helped her and she had mentors, and I couldn't really take that leap if I really want. I've always wanted to open my business, but I really don't think that I could do it. What would you tell them?
I would say absolutely you can. And I honestly believe that we all have opportunities that come our way, but sometimes we don't see them. I think what my advice is, if there's a door, look behind it. If there's a door that opens, open it and see what's on the other side. And I think that in general, I've always been the kind of person that has taken that leap of faith, and I've never been shy about what I want. So my advice is put it out there. Like, if you really want to do something, tell people, make it manifest, because if you don't, it's not going to happen. But if you start to actually believe in what it is that you want to do and you put it out there, then you can make it happen. That's the most important step, is letting people know that is what you want.
And we're going to talk about...
Really honestly,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I really honestly believe that is the reason that I've had this amazing, lucky journey, is because I've actually taken the leap and not been afraid of what might be on the other side. And always thought about, well, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? At the end of the day, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well, that's
good advice, because then you never look back and think, oh, what if? What if I would have done this, and what if I would have taken that chance, right? I mean, there's never that type of regret or, resentment for not having done something. So you have this creative agency. So what you're doing basically is managing brands and products and photo shoots and you're doing packaging for beauty companies, isn't that right?
Yeah, we don't do so much packaging, but we do branding and visual identity, and we create campaigns, and I direct shoots, and we have artists.
You're like the creative. You create creative pulses for companies in a sense, right?
Yeah. That's right, exactly.
Yeah, you got your finger on the pulse of the beauty world. So I want to, because it's interesting now that you're segueing into talent, right?
Yes, that's correct. Exactly. We've
Tell me
gone
about
into
it.
representation. Yes, absolutely. So, I guess I'm at that phase now in my career where I really love the mentorship side myself, and I really want to grow people, and so does my partner, our creative director. We're at that point where we want to kind of leave that legacy now and nurture young talent. So, and we also want to bring in fresh ideas too. The whole point in a business, I think, is to make sure you hire people that are more creative and smarter and better at what you do than. You're bringing in talent. You're bringing in people that are.
So basically, you opened Blonde Artists.
We did. We opened up the doors to some up and coming talent that maybe hadn't been identified yet by the masses, and we gave them the opportunity to shine.
That is fantastic. Not only are you expanding and growing, but you're giving people an opportunity to be just really roll out their creative capabilities and potential.
Yes, exactly.
The stuff is so hot, Judy.
And we've got quite a few women. I just want to say that, we're what's important to me very much so is making sure that we are diverse and we are representing those that haven't been necessarily represented as well as they should have been.
Judy, I love the stuff on Blonde & Co. I saw it today, Julie. I was just stunned. It's so beautiful. It's chic. It's hot. It's edgy. It's gorgeous. It has a depth to it that is so refreshing to see in beauty advertising. And
you should see the people that work there. I mean, they're just amazing. They're all so friendly. You can tell they're really happy to work there. And you create that, Julie. Well,
I guess, we have a team of people now that does that. I can't take all the credit, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's the trickle effect. It comes from the top down. So where can people find more out about you? What's your website, and where can people kind of delve into your... It's just fascinating even looking at the website.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we actually have 3 websites, but you can get to them all through our blondeandco.com. And from there, you can also check out our studios, because we have our in-house studios here, which is obviously where you came, Judy, for the event, and or hosted the event. And, that's also available for events and for rental, for suits and so forth. And we also have our blondeartists.com. Both of those sites you can get to, though, from our main site, which is blondeandco.com. And at Instagram, we are Blonde & Co. NYC.
That's fantastic. Well, if anyone's going to have, the most trendiest, glamorous event in New York City, then they should definitely consider your space for sure, and as well as everything else that you do, the creative agency and the artist reps. And it's just fantastic. Congratulations, Julie. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And Kristin, doing what Julie does with her company can create a lot of rewards for the person that's, building the company and the people that are involved, but it can also create some anxiety too. So I'm excited to see what Karen Salmansohn has to say about that.
I know. Karen Salmansohn is a multi-best-selling author. She has sold over 1 million books. She's known for creating self-help for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing self-help, because Karen merges psychological research with feisty humor and stylish graphics. You might know her as NotSalmon.com, salmon like the fish. the name of her popular website, and you might know her books, How to Be Happy, Damn It, Prince Harming Syndrome, and the Bounce Back book. Karen just launched a fantastic new video learning site called mastersinlife.com, and it offers a range of video courses to help you master your challenges and create the life you love. Welcome to the show, Karen.
It's great to be here.
I'm so excited, Karen, to have you on because, first of all, I'm loving these titles. How to be happy, damn it! I saw that and I lit up like a Christmas tree. And the Prince Harming Syndrome. So how did this all start? What's your story? Did you start in corporate? Corporate. That's what I heard, right?
Yeah, my little zigzagging story. I started off in advertising, and I worked at big agencies like J. Walter Thompson, Young Rubicon, McCann Erickson, and I was doing well. I'd got a Clio, actually my first 6 months in business for something I did for Kodak, but I wasn't happy. It was just all that corporate stuff, and there was so much backstabbing. Oh my gosh! I used to joke that I was surprised that I could drink a glass of water and have it not spurt out the knife holes in my back because there was so much backstabbing and all of that. And so I knew I wanted to write books, and I kept thinking I'm going to quit, and then chickening out, and then I'm going to quit.
Did you know what you wanted to write books about, or you just wanted to be an author?
I knew I wanted to write books that made people think in new ways. When I was in college, I was a philosophy minor and a film major, and I always loved philosophy and psychology and stuff like that. But I also loved humor. So my first book that I knew I wanted to write was a funny philosophical novel. So I wanted both. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, I used to read Mad Magazine and Psychology Today magazine. And
what a combo.
I was about to say.
That's sort of what I write now. You put Mad Magazine and Psychology Today magazine in a blender and press frappe. That would be sort of my book, because I like a blending of the two things, So, yeah, my first book was a novel, which a lot of people are surprised to hear, because I don't do that now.
Okay, so what genre of novel was this, Karen?
It was a horror novel, Kristin. I'm just kidding.
It was a romantic comedy type of thing. It was called 50% Off, and it was about a girl in advertising, but she wasn't me, and she had blue eyes, not brown eyes. But it was called 50% Off because in the book, well, first of all, I thought it would grab people's attention from the bookshelf,
Right.
But also, right. But in the book, when she and her fiancé break up, this is how she feels without the man, 50% off, marked down, half of a person, marked down merchandise. And it was based on the Plato quote, where Plato says that we're all half of a being divided by a curse, and through love we pursue our other half. But she has to learn, what the hell does Plato know? We should all be 100% whole first, and then through love, double our pleasure, double our fun, not just try to complete our, that whole quote, you complete me, I think is complete bullshit. We should be 100% whole first, and then through love, double our pleasure, so that takes her 327 pages to figure that out.
Well, some people take 50 years, so 327 pages is doing pretty good, Karen. Now, you're 26 years old, and you take this flying leap out of corporate to start writing full-time. At that point, how much self-help had you actually read before you were like, screw this is too saccharine?
Well, I didn't do the self-help right away. I did the novel, and then I did humor books and business books, and then I got into self-help. But I was always reading the self-help books and embarrassed. I would rip the covers off of self-help books to read them at cafe. And I just and then I'd recommend them to friends, and I'd feel like I was insulting them. So the corporate advertising girl in me one day woke up and thought, there should be self-help for people who wouldn't be caught dead reading self-help, or self-help that you could give to a friend as a gift and they're not going to punch you, So I realized there was a need in the marketplace. And this was like back in 2001 or even 1999, I think was when I first came up with the idea. And then the book was published in 2001. But nowadays, there's so much crazy lunatic self-help with crazy titles with like F, asterisk CK in the title, badass in the title. But back then, that was like unheard of. So when I told my agent I wanted to do books with crazy titles that were self-help books, she thought that was ridiculous. So,
Well, thank goodness for the ridiculousness.
Now it's more norm. What?
Thank goodness for the ridiculousness, because it's helped you to build your brand.
Yes.
So you went after your it. You, after reading the self-help, feeling frustrated, ripping off the covers, not getting punched by your friends, you go after this thing that makes your heart beat, which is writing. And what was the anxiety like when you took that flying leap?
Well, I definitely felt a lot of anxiety because I went from having very strong income to Zippo, So, but I developed a certain amount of tools to keep myself from being very anxious. And in fact, I could zigzag over to what I do now, but back then, I used to joke that I had what I jokingly called Mr. Magoo syndrome. Do you remember Mr. Magoo, or am I so ancient that I'm the only one that knows him?
My grandfather introduced me to the wonders of Mr. Magoo, so I'm acquainted.
Okay. So he had those big thick glasses, and he would go to cross the street, and there'd be cars honking, and he just miraculously never got hit by a car. He was just focused, must get to other side of the street. Well, that was sort of me. I didn't notice the obstacles and the honking naysayers. I was just must get published. I kept my eyes on what I wanted. And I would go to Barnes & Noble every once in a while. My last name is Salmansohn, and I would go to Barnes & Noble to envision my book on the bookshelf. And I realized I'd be next to Salinger. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a good company, Salinger, Salmansohn. So I visualized it, and that kept me from being overly anxious, by just staying focused on what I wanted, and also keeping little small steps. I was a long distance runner back then, and I used to run around Central Park, and I would think to myself, I just need to get to the next tree. So I wouldn't think I have to do 5-10 miles. I'd be just one tree. So I did that when I was writing. I just have little chunks of what I needed to do, rather than just looking at how much I had to do, how overwhelming that was.
Karen, what was your first book?
The first book was the novel, 50% Off.
Your first self-help book, I'm sorry.
Oh, my first self-help book? Well, I did a business book, which some might say is a self-help book, called How to Succeed in Business Without a Penis, which
yes,
back in 1996. And Ariana Huffington has spoken about liking that book, and actually Donna Karen. There's been some powerful women that have really liked the book. And but my first self-help type book that wasn't a business book was How to Be Happy, Damn It. And that came out in 2001.
That's what I thought. You started with that, and then that was out with a bang. And then you wrote 25 more. How many more books did you write? This is incredible.
I think, you know what? I got to tell you, I think I've lost count. I'm getting to be 40 books in total. Some of them are humor books, and they're little. Some of them are board books for kids, so those are little. So I kind of get to, I did a couple of those. Some of them are really small, cute, and then some of them are text driven, and I've a text driven book coming out in October that's all about longevity. tools, because obviously if I've published close to 40 books, I'm not a young kid anymore. So I'm going to be 58 in August. So, and I'm a late in life mom. So I told my son I was going to live to 100, and I'm going to be around to dance at his wedding and dance really hip hop and embarrass him and all that. And so he asked me to live to 200, but I bargained him down to 100. And then I decided to turn this into a quest to learn everything I could about longevity. And then I turned that into a book, and that's coming out in October in a book called Life is Long. And that's a very text-dense book. But not all my books are as text-dense as that book. So
and not all your... And all of this writing, from the Be Happy Dammit to, the books that you're writing now about longevity, I mean, you've had your own ups and downs along the way, including when you got pregnant with your child. And, tell us a little bit about that story and how did you, you must have used your own tools, I'm assuming, to get through that situation.
Yeah, no, everything, I just got pregnant late in life, and, I just stayed focused on believing that I could get pregnant, and it worked. And now I have this amazing son named Ari, who I named after, as a wink to the name Aristotle. Because I love I write a lot about Aristotle's philosophies, and my son is just a really cool kid. I love him. So so that's that. But
so you're focusing on the positive. I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So to write a book called Be Happy Dammit, you normally have to go through, the fact that you're not happy, right? To teach people how to be happy, you have to go through your own toils and troubles. What was the lowest point, do you think, that helped you write that book, or that helped you write self-help books in the future?
Well, I've had a lot of challenges. I've written about that. I have a book called The Bounce Back Book, which is all
the Bounce Back Book.
Yeah, because I was sexually assaulted. At this point, it was a while ago, before the whole Me Too hashtag thing, and that was just really very challenging. So that was definitely a low point. That whole year, there was a lot of things that happened all at once that one year. So that was challenging. And even when I wrote How to Be Happy Dammit, I had had all of these opportunities in Los Angeles. I was living out there, and I had sold my novel to Miramax to be movie star Marissa Tomei, and then I had all of these TV deals to write funny. I was a funny writer first, and I sold these original sitcom ideas to the networks, to NBC and Fox and all of this. But one by one, each of them never made it to air. So I joke that the ugliest word in the English language is the word almost, because I had all these almost. So then I decided, okay, well, I will come back to New York and go back into the book business. And I came up with the idea for How to Be Happy Dammit, but with a different title at first. And I described it to my agent, and she said, no, I don't think you should do that book. And then I told her 5 more books, and she said, no, I don't think no. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't sell any of these books to any of the TV shows didn't make it there, the movie didn't, and now my agent's telling me no to my book. So that was a moment in time. And then I just thought to myself, I believe in these books. So I let her go and found another agent, and then I wound up selling every single book that agent said no. And in fact, I wound up, that was my year of selling my most books ever. I sold 6 books in 1 year.
Wow.
That was the same year that the agent said no 6 times. I sold 6 books in 1 year.
There's a lesson in there somewhere.
Well, talk about believing in yourself unflappably. I mean, to have someone that's supposed to be an expert, your agent, who's supposed to know the market and where you fit in that market, telling you no, and then there's something, kudos to you for following your gut and saying, you know what, I believe in what I have to say. Now, I'm interested, after hearing about your experience in Los Angeles and then with this agent, you're now doing video courses, and the anxiety cure is partly in those video courses. What made you start into video courses as opposed to just writing another book about anxiety?
Well, I was a film major back in college. I love film. I always loved film. And I'm a visual person in general. Like when I was in advertising, I almost couldn't decide, do I want to be a copywriter or do I want to be an art director? Like when you have to pick one when you get a job in advertising. So I picked copywriter, but I was always a copywriter that loved visuals. Like I kind of think in word pictures, which is why I love creating books that have a strong design element. And so as I keep doing more and more books, I keep wanting to reinvent myself too. And the world has gotten more visual too, quite frankly. You know, people love watching videos on YouTube, and people kind of, it's just a far greater visually addicted world. So with all of that, it all conspired together all at once with me like, okay, I've done so many books. What next? The world likes videos. I do too. And then I just decided to create this video learning site called Masters in Life. And anxiety is something that a lot of people have, and myself included. I've had different times in my life when I felt anxiety more than others, and definitely developed tools and researched anxiety. And I just decided that I would launch with that as premier course because it's epidemic now. So many people have anxiety with what's going on in the news and our busy schedules. And oh my gosh.
Don't you think everyone has a touch of anxiety? I mean, everyone there must be some situation where everyone experiences anxiety at one point. No?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. In today's world, everybody's schedule is so crammed, and there's anxiety that comes from social media, just like looking at the news for a half a second,
I know when I get the reports from this show, sometimes I'm like,
right?
Do I want to look and make sure my numbers are low? I mean, it's just so overwhelming. And I guess that's part of anxiety, right? Is feeling overwhelmed and really going through these feelings of nervousness and really kind of not wanting to see the next step. So what are some of the steps that you go through? I don't want to, be a spoiler alert or anything, but you call it the anxiety cure, right? What are some of the steps? Like, what do you show people how to do things? Or I know you said at one point in under 10 minutes you can, ease your anxiety. Yeah. That's pretty good because someone who's anxious probably doesn't have more than 10 minutes to pay attention to fixing their anxiety. Right?
I know. And I think people's attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter. So I made all the videos. People's attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter. Oh, very funny. Yeah. So each of the videos are like anywhere from like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to the longest one in the course is like 10 minutes for a video. And you can binge watch them all at once, or you can slow watch them because when you buy the anxiety cure, you keep it for life. And they're all like visually very like fun and funny. Like I believe that humor helps people to learn faster. There's been studies on that. I gave a TEDx talk on how fun is a high performance fuel, and people learn better when there's humor involved. In fact, there's a study that people learned more about politics from watching these late night comedians than from reading the newspaper, because when you're laughing, your brain absorbs it better. So I added humor into it, and also if you're stressed, my gosh, you definitely want some humor as you're learning how to get over your stress. So I've woven a lot of humor into the psychological tools that I share.
Well, one thing that I found humorous on your website when I was exploring was your bucket list from hell. So many people.
Yeah.
The bucket list is kind of like the new zeitgeist. It's part of the zeitgeist. What am I going to do before I die? And people have these vision boards dedicated to it, and Pinterest boards, and journals and stuff. And I'm one of those people. But your bucket list from hell, how what is it, and how is it a tool for you?
Well, I joked that by accident I got my hands on the bucket list from hell. Instead of going like skydiving or trekking the Himalayas, I had a series of challenges that I went through. Like I said, like the sexual assault, or before I got pregnant, I had miscarriage and stuff like that. But I really do see it, everything that I've gone through, as like having golden nuggets, of having insight. And that comes from Aristotle. Aristotle, who, like I said, I love, and I named my son Ari as a link to his name. He asked the question that if you could live like your life with absolutely no pain and total bliss, would you do it? And according to Aristotle, you shouldn't do it, because the whole purpose of life is to gain insights and grow, and challenges help us to gain insights and grow. So everything that happens to you is there to help you to grow into a wiser and stronger person. So every time I'm like, in the past when I was going through things, part of what helped me to keep moving forward is, to look for the insight, to look for the lesson, to even look at the challenging people in my life. I renamed, when I wrote Prince Harming Syndrome, I wrote about how I renamed that Prince Harming my teacher. Mm-hmm. And, every jerk has a silver lining. You look for the lesson that you're supposed to learn from a person. And so, with the bucket list from hell, mm-hmm. I realized that in some ways I'm grateful, as strange as that is, for my challenges, because they did indeed make me stronger and gave me added insight.
Well, I think what you're saying, which is so powerful, is we do so much to avoid pain, and we do so much to avoid anxiety, but both pain and anxiety can be great teachers if we have the right perspective. So
yeah, but anxiety can stop you from thinking properly. So I think post-anxiety, mm-hmm. but during it, you need to get out of it, because when you're anxious, mm-hmm. you lose your ability to think clearly. It's why people, when they're nervous, they trip on their tongue, and it's because they're stuck in their reptile brain and they're not in their neocortex, where all that good, juicy insight is. So you have to...
That sounds like a whole nother show.
It is a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Well, Karen...
You have to get yourself out of it.
Well, Karen, we're going to have to talk about the reptile brain, and we're going to have to get into more of these insights. And everybody needs to take some time, because anxiety affects all of us, to investigate you and your course offerings more. So how do our listeners find you online and connect with you and your courses and your books?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, my last name is Salmansohn. Everybody mangles it and says Salmansohn. So my main website is not salmon, because I'm always going, not salmon. So it's notsalmon.com. And then I'm all over, like Facebook is also not salmon, and Instagram's not salmon. You kind of get the gist. And then my video learning site is Masters in Life. And the Anxiety Cure is discounted right now, $50 off up until June 1st, which is right around the corner. So if your listeners want to run over there now and get the Anxiety Cure at $50 off, they can grab it up until June 1st.
Well, everyone should certainly take a look at what you have to offer, Karen. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Your story is so amazing, and sharing all of those insights with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. You guys are great.
Well, we love you, and folks, let's be happy, damn it. And next week, we're gonna take that anxiety topic one step further. Next week, Dr. Colleen is coming back. Dr. Colleen Mullen, the founder and podcaster of Coaching Through Chaos, and Deborah Daniel will also be with with us, and she's going to ease our minds about being financially fit for the future. How often does money make you anxious? I know it makes me anxious from time to time. She's going to help us ease anxiety about our money. Remember, subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't miss one show. Go to whatwomenwantradio.com for more information, and see you next week. Have a great night.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristin West, only on LA Talk Radio.